Welcome to Shoot the Defence on FNX. I'm your host, Stel, and I'm joined along with Mike Pieri.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Could be better, but we're not going to get into that. The returning Double Dee from the D&D Footy Factory.
What's going on, guys? You up?
Yeah,
well, good, my friend. Are you, or have you recovered from your escapades in Carnival?
Yeah, well, now I'm actually still in pain. A lot of walking and a lot of pushing people out of the way. a lot of that. It was a bit mad. It was a bit mad, I must say.
Sounds like the 86th minute at Old Trafford last night.
Ooh.
he's gone in already.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie.
The bell hasn't rung yet.
Sorry.
Exactly. He hasn't cashed in his money in the bank yet, and he's already fighting. Wow. Right, making his Shoot the Defence debut is none other than Hibernian midfielder Marvin Bartley. Marvin, welcome to the show, mate. Great to have you on.
Cheers, thanks a lot for having me. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. How's your season started?
Well, we got knocked out of the Europa League qualifiers, unfortunately. We went across to Molde in Norway. We lost 3-0 after drawing 0-0 in the first leg. So that was, I mean, you know, we had a couple of trips. We went across to the Faroe Islands and then across to Greece and then Norway. So that was an experience. And it's kind of affected our league campaign, if I'm honest. We won our first game and then we drew to Aberdeen and St Johnstone. We beat Motherwell 3-0 on the opening day of the season, but having a small squad and obviously playing Tuesday, Sunday does take its toll, even though it is early on in the season. So, but no, I mean, it's enjoyable. Can't complain playing football, so no, it was good.
Absolutely. And I hear you own a boxing promotion, is that correct?
Yeah, it's you know, something that slowed down a bit because it took a bit more time than, you know, obviously me being in Scotland and, you know, I was trying to help people from where I'm from, which is Reading. So it was something to basically help some of the local boys get out and about because they're struggling to get on shows. I'm not sure if you know how boxing works, but it's very much a ticket selling business. And a lot of the shows that are being put on by promoters were in London, which was obviously a long way for the Reading fans to travel. So, I put one on in Reading just to help the local boys, you know, and obviously the more tickets they sell, the more money they make. So it's something I'll definitely, you know, continue, and I do move closer to home again, but it's just on hold for the minute because obviously of me being in Edinburgh.
That's understandable. Tell me, what do you reckon is going to happen between the Golovkin and Canelo?
I think Canelo wins.
Yeah?
I'm a firm Canelo fan, so I think he'll do it. I think he'll win it. I think it'll be a great fight, but I think he'll win it definitely. Okay. What
about you, Mike? I know you're a big boxing fan.
I'm going to go Triple G.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what I'd go for, to be fair. Double Dee?
Yeah.
You bothered?
Yeah, I'll go Golovkin.
There you go.
In fact, it could go either way, man.
Marvin's the most experienced out of a lot of us, so he's probably going to be right. But fair enough. We'll come back to this when the fight's over. We'll be texting each other. Don't worry, Marvin.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Right. Let's begin our show with a quiz that has no name yet. I don't know what to call it. So if anyone out there
that's its name, the quiz with no name. That's what we're going to do.
Telling it to Wiley. What do you call it? Yeah. Right. So it's simple rules. I picked 3 results from a past Premier League season, and you guys will just have to guess the goal scorers. Is that simple?
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
3 results. Okay. So the 3 games are from August the 27th. Season 1997-98. So I believe that was Arsenal's double winning season.
Yes.
Yeah.
When Nicolas Anelka ripped Gary Neville. Actually, no, it was Overmars that ripped Gary Neville to bits, wasn't it? And
yeah.
That Arsenal fan was crazy. I've never seen him since. Where he is. If anyone knows where the Arsenal fan is, please let me know. I'd like to have him on the show just to see if he's all right, really. Yeah, so the first game is Wimbledon 0, Chelsea 2, and that's Wimbledon as in before MK Dons Wimbledon.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, damn, my pen's...
The pen!
The pen!
Right, I'll think of... I'll do it in my head.
Okay. The next game is Spurs 3, Aston Villa 2.
Hey.
5-goal thriller at the Lane. What have they called the new stadium anyway?
At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think.
Tottenham Hotspur
Yeah,
Stadium.
they really pushed the ball out with that one.
Packard Stadium.
Definitely.
The Chick Stadium. The final game is Coventry 1, West Ham 1. Coventry, who played at Highfield Road. Lovely stadium that was. Proper traditional football stadium. Mind you, West Ham had a pretty decent stadium. Horrible to get to, but yeah. So there you go. Those are the 3 games. So anyone in the chat room that's watching, do you want to guess? I'm not going to show these guys what your guesses are. Don't worry. So yeah, Wimbledon 0, Chelsea 2, Spurs 3, Villa 2, and Coventry 1, West Ham United 1.
I'm struggling here.
All right. Okay. Now let's get into the meat and drink, as they say. First game of the weekend, or game of the bank holiday weekend, was Man United 0, Spurs 3. A game quite literally of 2 halves. Now, United could and should have gone into the break ahead, but didn't put their chances away. Lukaku being the main culprit, missing an open goal, which didn't really surprise me, given he's got clout feet. Spurs regrouped and hit United with 3 killer blows. Mike,
yes,
you went to the game. You didn't see the press conference till probably when you got home. But Jose said in his press conference that he warned his players at halftime not to give anything away, especially at set pieces. And lo and behold, Harry Kane made them pay. Thoughts, please.
Oh, where do we start?
Beginning.
Yes. Well, I got to the ground, and as a team lined up, I was actually pleasantly surprised when I saw him as a 3 at the back.
With Matic?
No, it was Herrera.
Oh, Herrera, okay.
Yeah, Herrera played as a 3rd centre-half. I mean, that, whether that obviously didn't work, but I thought, okay, let's see what happens. First 30 minutes or so, it actually worked. Shaw, I thought, was excellent. First half, United were good to watch, quite dominant. But that defence, again, let the team down. Jones was bullied by Kane for the 1-0. Herrera played Spurs onside, and then a limp challenge gave Moura the goal. Moura made Smalley look like a Sunday League defender, 3-0, done and dusted. Am I allowed to carry on ranting?
Go ahead. The floor is yours, mate.
Okay, so I think what we saw last night is why the defence is a shambles. I mean, I still do not understand the official club stance.
Transfer policy?
Well, the transfer policy where they said that Mourinho didn't need another defender. I just don't get that. Just because he spent 60 million on Bailey and Lindelof, that should not, just so they should have spent the money on Toby Alderweireld. I mean, look at him last night. He was outstanding. Exactly what United needed. Exactly what Bailey and Lindelof needed to help them as in their development as young centre halves. Now, I'm not saying they're the answer, but 2 young defenders at a top team with that pressure was never going to work. I mean, I'm delighted Ed Woodward was able to pass final judgment on who is and isn't a suitable centre half for the team. I mean, what a joke! And last night, everyone could see. Since the beginning of the season, everyone could see that every centre half at the club, is not good enough. And we're way behind our rivals. I mean, I was talking to Stel before the show that Mourinho's bottom line is, I think that Woodward and the Glazers, they should deify Mourinho. They should see him as Jesus, because he's turned water into wine. How he got them to 2nd place, how he turned them into a top 4 team, won 2 trophies as well, and they won't back him. And we said it last week, but it's just it was hard last night. It was hard.
It's like a broken record when it comes to United this season. But Marvin, you're better equipped to answer this one than I say the 3 of us. When you look at Lindelof and Bailly and the goals that United have conceded this season, there's a mental fragility there, isn't there? It's almost as if they're petrified to get on the pitch.
Yeah, but I think it's very difficult for the players when the manager openly comes out and says what he needs and why he needs it. So if I'm a centre half at United and I'm a young lad and I'm trying to basically earn my stripes at a massive club, and the manager's coming out publicly and saying he needs another centre half, the club won't back him, this, that, and the other, you're going to be nervous. It's one of those things. And then if you're not strong enough mentally, you're going to be like, well, hang on a minute, he doesn't want me playing anyway. So regardless of what I do now, I'm not going to be good enough for that manager. I know people can say, you can go the other way as well and prove him wrong, and then the transfer window's closed now, so if they perform well, hopefully in January will come and you won't need anybody. But it's very difficult to be that guy. football's very mentally draining. When you're in a position when the manager doesn't trust you, and then the fans start jumping on every mistake you make, and with social media and stuff now, there's gifts made about you before the games are finished. So, I think Mourinho, everyone knew they needed a centre half, but I think, to go publicly about it the way he did, I don't think it's helped his players at all. Don't get me wrong, Mourinho's one of the best managers in the world, so who am I to tell him what to do? But I just think from a player's point of view, how I would have, maybe found myself under that sort of pressure, I think it's very difficult for him to now go on and perform.
What if he's actually told people like, the youngsters like Bailey and Lindelof, look, I'm going to get an experienced centre-half. We're going to play 3 at the back next season. When I get this experience, you're going to learn from him. You're going to grow as players. But then the club let him down, because certainly Jones and Smalling are not the experienced centre-halves. They're going to try and help develop the 2 centre-halves that he himself has chosen and bought.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it like that, then it's slightly different. But when you look at them, they've got 4 centre-halves. You've just named 4 centre-halves there. And if he says, we're going to play 3 centre-halves next season, and there's 4 of you there, you think to yourself, hang on a minute, well, he's definitely saying one of us isn't good enough because he wants to bring in a 5th one. And if that one's coming in to also play and also bring the younger ones through, then he's saying 2 of us aren't good enough. So Smalling and Jones kind of look at it, well, he's brought these 2 in for X amount of money. He's bringing in another experienced one if he can. He doesn't trust us. He doesn't believe in us. And, that shows when they play on the pitch. Smalling, for me, yesterday, Smalling's a top quality centre-half, and he just looked nervous. He looked like he actually couldn't defend. And that's not the Chris Smalling that, played for England. He's played so many games in the Premier League. He just looks like he's lacking confidence at the moment. And every mistake he does make, the fans, are jumping on him. And it's making his job harder. I think Mourinho, sometimes managers can come out and protect their players. I think if he'd have came out in public and said, we are looking at another centre-half, I'm more than happy with what I have now, but I just want to add competition for places. And it's slightly different because you think, well, hang on a minute, he does believe in us. As every great football team has, there's competition for places. Not that we're not good enough there and I need to replace them, or I need to bring in somebody who's better at defending and can, give us that experience.
Yeah, John Marvin, my honest opinion is when you hit the nail right on the head with Chris Smalling. He looks very nervous, and I think when you look at the great defensive partnerships over the years, I'm not just talking about United. You can talk about Blackburn with Berg and Colin Hendry, and Arsenal with Sol Campbell and Martin Keown. There's always been that understanding, and the central defenders have trusted each other. But when you look at Chris Smalling, I think he looks over his shoulder and he sees Phil Jones, who is either gurning or looks like a deer in headlights or Bambi on ice, and he's like, or on the floor, and he's like, what am I doing? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think Chris Smalling is one of the best defenders in the league. I don't really rate him at all, but at the same time, he's the most experienced in the United back line, to be fair. Yeah. So, but I don't want to talk about Chris Smalling because it will give me an aneurysm, really. But Double D, tell me something, right? I know you're not a United fan, but is it time for Jose to drop Paul Pogba? Is he undroppable? Because the guy has put in 2 diabolical performances in the last 2 games. It isn't good enough, is it?
It's really not good enough. I think the problem with Pogba and Mourinho is that I don't know, and obviously with the inside stuff that you lot will know from being United fans, I don't actually know how much Mourinho wanted to bring him to Old Trafford in the first place. I think it was more a commercially driven thing. I believe Adidas got involved because United, in his first season, United played Southampton. I think it was second game of the season. And before it, they aired an interview that Pogba did with Thierry Henry. And Pogba said that his best position, if just say it's a 4-2-3-1, is to be in the 3 and to come off of the left or right with someone there holding to allow him to be in kind of like a free role and do what he wants. And it seems like Mourinho and him have never properly discussed where he wants him to play and what could get the best out of him. He's not a Michael Essien Mark II. He's not that disciplined to be able to play that role. He's not as good in the tackle as Essien was, etc. He doesn't drive like him. He could drive very well, Pogba. He's a brilliant passer, but he's more of a finesse player who's built like someone that could play DMC. And there just seems to be a lack of understanding between them. And he keeps he's buying this player to unlock him, that player to unlock him. As Mike said, you played the three. I didn't know how the formation was going to play out when I checked the team when I was at the carnival, right? Then I hear Herrera went to play centre half. So then still there, you've got the likes of Fred in there. You've got people in there to protect him, and still he didn't really weave the magic that we expected. But saying that again, United, Tottenham were clinical when United weren't. If United won those in the first half, you could have seen a completely different game. For instance, last season, Tottenham were nil. Tottenham were much better than United, but they wasted their chances. And then big kick from De Gea, flick on from Lukaku, Marshall got the goal. But that missed by Lukaku, man. I know he's left-footed, but it's an open goal. I don't know what Danny Rose was doing with the pass back, but obviously you would have seen it now on the TV. I don't know who the guy was sitting next to Ed Woodward, and he told him to sack. He said sack him in regards to Mourinho. I don't know what's going on there at the club. He's not just can't get the most of it.
With Pogba, believe it or not, I watched the game again this morning. I just wanted to watch it and see. And 41st minute, around about the 41st minute, he gets the ball and he does this thing where he wants to pass and there's no one to pass to. Fair enough. Then he rolls the ball, top of his foot, outside. Now, protecting the ball, fine. Yeah. And he's just waiting, and he's using his strength, and he almost to show, you know what, I can keep the ball. And then Dembele comes, tries to tackle him, and he tries to pass it, I think it might be to Valencia. Ball goes out of touch. Now, he did that, I think, once more in the second half. He did it against Brighton 2 or 3 times. Come on, man, just play football. Get that ball moving.
I know, it's bizarre. It's like he's always played with, like he goes on the pitch with pressure.
Playground football. That's what we should do in the playground. Yeah. Go on, get the ball off me. Come on. Everyone crowds around you and they get the ball and just play. Because he can play. The man can play football.
The ability is undeniable.
He reminds me. Today, it came to me today, almost like an epiphany today. He's what Veron was to Ferguson. Pogba is Mourinho's Veron. He might be the right player, but he might be at the right club, but at the wrong time, with the wrong players around him. Veron was outstanding in Italy, was crucial to their international team. Pogba was outstanding in Italy and crucial to his international team. It's just not working out for whatever reason. And I love Veron, and I don't need to tell anyone how much Stel has a man crush on that man. But, true. But it's just not working out, and I'm very, very frustrated. And I'm an advocate of Veron. I think there's so much there. He is a product of the academy. Yes, he went and he came back, but I think it's getting to him. Everything that goes around him, it's a cliche, but you know what? However much I've defended him, I think he just didn't look bothered yesterday. There was no energy.
I just like to cut in here because Hala Madrid, I don't know who this guy is, but he cracks me up every time he says something in the chat room. He says, Fred to unlock Pogba, part 3. Part 2 was Matic, part 1 was Carrick. Great movie, though. Poetic, mate. That's brilliant. That's superb. I'll send you that hat. I'll tip my hat off to you. It was brilliant. Fantastic. All right. Double D, you mentioned Lukaku's chance. Mike, Spurs really suffocated United and hit them on the break. Lucas Moura, though, he's really stepped it up, hasn't he?
I'm happy for Lucas Moura because everyone was doubting him. He's never lost his ability. He just got frozen out at Paris Saint-Germain because they brought in the likes of Draxler and then obviously more recently Mbappe, Neymar, and he got frozen out. He's never lost his ability. The pace, when he runs with the ball at his feet, it's like how Hazard is. You got to tackle him. You actually got, but the second goal was a good finish. United should have cut the ball out, but it's a good finish. But the third goal, he sat Smalling on his bum, but why was Lindelof ball watching? Go back and get in position, because if Lindelof got back into position, Moura can't shoot, but he's kind of like standing there watching. He beats Smalling, just smashes it into the goal. But Tottenham did really well, and they fooled us all, haven't they? Because we were all doubting. It's still early doors, obviously, but we all thought they've not bought any players, they haven't got a chance. But they look the most together because they're not blending in any new players. So they're just continuing on from last season, and they're going to be a force. Kane started scoring in August, so the world's going to come to an end soon. But I was really impressed with them. They got through. That's what you have to do. They always say the old cliche: get through the first 20 minutes if you're an away team. They got through United playing some decent stuff and missing a couple of chances, and in second half it was mostly one-way traffic, man.
Right. But they should have got a penalty in the first half. But
Phil Jones knocked someone down, didn't he?
Down below where we were. And yes, Lukaku should have scored. But United were very good in the first half. Once United went 1-0 down, and then Mourinho changed the team. He went to a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. That sort of. It stopped Shaw predominantly and Valencia coming down the wings, and therefore it was what we saw against Brighton, what we saw against Leicester, with the opposition dominating possession. And Spurs are far better than Brighton and far better than Leicester, and they just picked off United when they, at will almost.
Great stuff. Well, before we move on, Marvin, tell me about Dembele, because I think he was Spurs' probably second or third star performer last night. Absolutely fantastic footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, Dembele is someone I love to watch. He played the same position as myself, so
that's why I asked this question.
It's really hard. But Dembele, he is a special player, and he seems to control the pace of the game. He's so strong. He glides with the ball. He's not actually fast, but he's so powerful when he is on the ball that everyone seems to bounce off him. So he kind of him v Pogba yesterday. I'm a great believer. Pogba's a great player. I heard you lot talking about him, and it upset me because I believe in Pogba massively. But no, Dembele is a quality performer. That's what surprised me when Tottenham were talking about maybe getting rid of him in the transfer window, because I think their policy is when you get to a certain age, they only give you a 1 or 2 year contract. He wants something longer term.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a huge mistake for them to do that, because when he plays like he did yesterday, he really is one of the best centre midfielders in the Premier League.
Well, he was linked with Inter Milan, but they brought in Nainggolan, so I don't think that's going to happen.
When are you going to go to China as well?
Yeah, I saw the China stuff. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to be money and length of contract, but without sounding disrespectful to Chinese football, I think it's a waste for him to go out there. I think he's still got so much more to offer. If it's not the Premier League, European League, because then you get to see him in the Champions League. So I think, he can go to China probably in 3 or 4 years' time and still be a major force out there. So, hopefully he does stay in the Premier League, and if not the Premier League, he does stay within European football.
Absolutely. Right, moving on to the other team in North London that won at the weekend, Arsenal. They scored 3 goals and they beat West Ham 3-1. They came from behind to win their first game in the Emery era. Now, Monreal cancelled out Arnautovic's opener before a Diop own goal, and Danny Welbeck sealed the win for the Gooners. Double Dee, it was a bit of a fortuitous win for Arsenal. West Ham failed to convert some really good chances.
Yep. Still, I can't give the full my full conclusion of Arsenal until I see the likes of Granit Xhaka get dropped, Mr. Another Ball Watcher. And when I see the likes of Torreira starting, then I can properly judge things. But yeah, I thought West Ham would cause them some problems. And they actually did. But Arsenal won a lot of home games like that last season, to be honest. They gave away a lot of chances. Teams didn't take them, and then Arsenal were able to outscore them and get the win. But I think Arsenal, the big games, I'm still not sure what they're going to do. But I think these games like West Ham here, I think Arsenal are going to beat up a lot of teams and still accumulate a decent amount of points to be batting around trouble, top 5. We'll see about top 4. But yeah, it was very important they got this window, because it was looking, I know when they went behind, a few of their fans would have been thinking, oh God, not again. But yeah, they did well to come through. They were clinical, but a better opposition would have taken at least a point.
Absolutely. Well, Marvin, you play for a quite, how shall we say, experienced manager. I mean, Unai Emery, he isn't afraid to make changes. I'm pretty sure Mr. Lennon isn't afraid to make changes either, and adjust his system. It just seems that Arsenal have got a plan B, C, and D now, which they haven't had for, or even before. What, George Graham? Did they even have a plan B under George Graham? I don't know.
I think he's also a manager that he's not scared to drop players. And I know they've come out and said that Ozil was ill, and that's why he wasn't involved. But you hear other things, and it was that he wasn't going to start the game anyway. So I don't know if there's been a falling out between those two. But he's got his philosophy and the way he wants to play, and you know, if players aren't going to follow that, then, you know, they'll be taken off the pitch. And I think with Wenger last season, it was kind of, you know, he would have a philosophy, but he would then change it to fit the players that he had, kind of thing. And I think that's the biggest difference. I mean, you know, Arsenal, if you watch them, I watched them against West Ham, and they look like they're trying to defend a lot narrower, but the defence still doesn't seem strong enough to stop the opposition from getting chances, which is obviously very worrying. But when we do have the ball, obviously we're spread out, and he's trying to play through the lines, and, you know, if that doesn't work, he's willing to turn it into the channel because he's got Aubameyang's pace up front. And I'm excited. As an Arsenal fan, I am excited. You know, I know it's not going to change overnight. I know it's probably going to take him, you know, he probably needs 2 or 3 transfer windows to make it happen, which is 18 months. But I'm excited. I think we needed the change. I think Wenger done an awful lot for Arsenal and will forever be in his debt. I think English football as well, because he changed a lot of things. You know, a lot of people have followed, but we needed the change, and, you know, I'm happy with the change, and I think we'll do well this season.
Fair enough.
He plays quite a high line though as well, doesn't he? Compacts the defence with the midfield, and he tries to push up that way.
Yeah, he does, and it's kind of weird because obviously, other than Bellerin, there's not really a great deal of pace within that back four. So it is a risky way to play. But, you know, obviously, we were speaking earlier about the Italian owners I had at Leyton Orient, and it was very much their style as well. And their thinking was that if you're making the striker, you know, go back towards his own goal, he's also working and he's also becoming tired. And, you know, he used to say that, you know, strikers aren't the cleverest, and sometimes they would just stand offside because they're not used to, you know, you pushing up to the halfway line and them having to come with you, kind of thing. And I think that's what they're trying to do at Arsenal. They're always trying to make the striker of the opposition team think. And, you know, at the moment it is, you know, teams having a lot of chances against us. And, you know, hopefully when the players do get used to it, because there's different styles to they've been used to, when they do get used to it, hopefully we can tighten up a little bit more and, you know, still play the free-flowing and attacking football.
There you go. Well, Mike, you mentioned Arsenal's high line. They're still making silly mistakes defensively. I'm not sure when Koscielny will be fit, but he'll slot next to Babastafopoulos, won't he, when he's at 100%? You'd think, anyway. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I know he must do. I mean, Koscielny, you know, at his best, is a top drawer centre half. I think he's better than Mustafi. And, you know, I saw, you know, Marvin, you said about the pace of the back, but there was some sort of stats that was sent out by, was it Aubameyang, who put out on his Instagram or something that Babastafopoulos is apparently the third quickest. I'm not having that. I can't have it. I'm sorry. I'm not having it. I mean, was it? I don't know. It couldn't have been running. It had to be something else. I'm sorry.
Crazy, man.
I can't have that. I'm not having that. You know, I've followed the guy's career. He's not a quick centre half.
He's got 18 base on Football Manager, so it must be true.
Spot on, mate.
I mean, West Ham had 13 shots on goal from about 35% possession. So that is worrying, because West Ham, and there's going to be a lot of teams who are going to be better than West Ham, who are going to play against Arsenal. You know, they're going to if you're going to give Man City 13 shots against you, they're going to punish you.
Yeah, only one person happen. Yeah.
If you give Salah 13 shots, he's going to score 6 or 7 of them.
Well, tell me something, Mike. Do you think West Ham ultimately lost the game when they lost Arnautovic?
I'll tell you what, I thought West Ham played very well. I was, you know, very impressed with Philippe Anderson. I thought he did really well. I mean, Snodgrass should have scored when there was a move. I think started down on the left. I think it may have involved Anderson, but Arnautovic, he's a good player, Arnautovic, and I think he turned and played in Snodgrass, and he just passed it back to Cech. But Arnautovic, you know, he's a good player, very good with his feet. He can run in behind, he can come short, he can turn, he's got a shot. I mean, I was looking forward to the game because I don't know if you recall back in, I think it might have been 2013 when they were at Werder Bremen together. Babastafopoulos and Arnautovic, they had a fight. They had a fight in training, and I was waiting for some action, and it never happened. Yeah. I mean, Babastafopoulos actually whacks him one in the head. It's on YouTube. Go and have a look at it. It's on YouTube.
Double D, should Pellegrini be concerned with his back line, because the goals they conceded were absolutely dreadful?
I've just been watching, just when you hollered me, Stel, just watching them. They just straight through their League Cup tie to late on 2-1 against 10 men, and still they were having problems with AFC Wimbledon, even though AFC had 10 men. Issa Diop scored a banger though, which they're going to talk about, but it didn't look too convincing, but definitely worrying, and that's what's going to cause them problems, because you look at the signings and you think they should have enough here to finish 7th or 8th, but they're going to drop silly points because they again, like Arsenal do, they allow too many shots at goal. And though Fabianski is a better keeper than they've had in the last few seasons, you can only save so much. So definitely worrying there. I think he'll go again and make 1 or 2 purchases in January. But Arnautovic, hopefully for them, he's out this weekend. He has to stay. He's pivotal. He has to stay fit, because he's that kind of maverick player that doesn't look interested sometimes and then could just score out of nothing. Whereas you need to create more for the likes of the Hernandezes of this world. Lucas Perez looked a bit off the pace today, but that will come, give him more games. So I think they'll be okay, but at the moment, I don't think they're going to finish as high as I thought they would because of that back line.
The thing is with Arnautovic, we said back in the last season, very beginning of last season, that West Ham hadn't really replaced Dimitri Payet. And then along comes Arnautovic. He basically saved them from the drop in. I don't care who was in charge, even the Pope, you know. Arnautovic saved them, and it just seems that they're very toothless without him. I'm a little bit concerned with West Ham, not in an emotional kind of way, but you know what I mean. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. The fans might mash the stadium up again.
Well, I don't want to upset them. We're going to upset them. Right, Liverpool's 1-0 win over Brighton puts them top of the league on maximum points, while Man City were unlucky to come away with a draw at Jorge Mendes FC, aka Wolves. Marvin, it wasn't a comfortable win for Liverpool, as Brighton had a couple of chances near the end. I know Alisson made a good save from Gross's header, I believe it was. How long do you think Klopp's men can keep up this high-intensity football for?
I think we saw when Klopp first came, they started like a house on fire in terms of, I mean, each game they pressed really high and they looked brilliant. But for the last 20 minutes of the game, sometimes they were dead on their feet. And I think no matter how much fitness work you put into them and how much you do on the training pitch, I think for a human to be able to press the way that Liverpool do and play at the tempo they do, it's going to take its toll. And they've got a bigger squad now, so obviously they can rotate a bit. But Liverpool without Salah, to me, are half the team. So the problem is you can't afford to rest him. I mean, you can take other players out, you take Mane's out, and Firmino and whatever else, but you can't take Salah out. So if something was to happen to him, I think it could be a huge problem for Liverpool going forward, because I think they do rely so much on him, and that's not saying they're a one-man team, because no matter what team he's in the world, you're going to rely on him. But I just don't see them being the same without him. So if they keep him fit and he stays fresh, then they probably can do it for the whole season, because he really is a talisman to them.
That's right. And Double Dee, I know that you're probably grinning like a Cheshire cat. It wasn't even like a scrappy win, wasn't it? They had a couple of chances, Brighton, but Liverpool pretty much in control most of the game.
That game, guys, I've seen Liverpool play that game virtually every single week at Anfield since Rafa Benitez left in 2010. And usually we either lose it or we draw. So I was happy that they were able to squeeze the win. It was not vintage by any means. It got really boring. And as Mike's pointed out, after about, I'd say about 65, 70 minutes, they looked dead on their feet. And the defensive spacing wasn't there. And then Brighton were growing in confidence. Full credit to them. And if we still had a Mignolet or a Karius goal, we would have drawn that game, because that save by Alisson, when you see it, it's a routine save, but it's the concentration levels. He never had much to do in the game apart from a couple of dribbles where he almost let them come in because he was too confident on the ball. But it was so important to get the 3 points there, because we weren't at our best. Matt Ryan did make a couple of good saves, but those games we've been drawing or losing. So if we can continue to win those, we'll be there or thereabouts. But it still does show we need that create. He had Lallana on the bench. He didn't look too good with that style. Sometimes you have to make substitutions after about 55 to 60 minutes because of how tired the player gets. We still need that creative guy. Now we've not got Coutinho anymore to do something different with those passes. Though we had chances, we didn't really cut them open. It was like, ooh, a header, a shot. It wasn't like, created any one-on-ones or any really proper clear-cut opportunities. But good win. I'm not getting excited yet. Some people are talking like as though we're going to stay there. There's still 35 games to go, and we've got Man City, Chelsea, and Tottenham within the next 6 to 7 weeks. So that's going to tell a lot whether or not how serious Liverpool really are.
And the other thing about Alisson, and thanks to Mike, who's got some fantastic footage, we know that Alisson is good on 3-on-1 situations as well.
I saw that video, and
no,
I know there'll be some young people.
To be fair, I watched the whole video, but I don't know.
What if it said Brazzers on the top left-hand corner of the screen? Would you believe it's him then?
I'm gonna watch it again and I'll let you know.
You make a few phone calls, mate, and find out.
Fake taxi.
There you go. Good one. Right, Wolves against Man City. The thing is, Wolves coming to the Premier League playing Man City reminds me of a new kid at a school, and all the other kids know all about him, and he wants to stake his claim and beat up the school bully. And that's what that game was, wasn't it? But City hit the bar a couple of times, Mike. I know Wolves didn't roll over, which is fantastic. It was a great game of football for the neutrals, wasn't it?
It was quite open. Well, no, it was very open. I mean, if they played that match 100 times, City will win 99. No doubt about that. But you know what? Yeah, I think so.
Never 98.
No, 99. Yeah. No draws apart from that one. But it was one of those early season games where a promoted club puts it all in, scores the first goal. But listen, that goal was a handball, probably offside as well. But
VAR.
Yeah. I'm up with it.
Wolves deserve that luck though. Like to come and play against Man City. So many teams, like we saw Newcastle, Chelsea, and Newcastle.
Spot on.
At St. James's Park, sat in behind it. I didn't want them to get anything from the game because it's far too negative.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not saying you go head to head with them, but come on, Wolves. I was happy for Wolves because they came out, they played their own game. Don't get me wrong, at times Man City didn't have the ball for long periods, but they tried to attack, and you almost create your own luck. And yeah, it was handball, yeah, it was offside, but I think they deserved it for approaching the game the way they did.
No, fair play, and absolutely, I don't disagree with any of that. I think they played well. When they did get the ball and break, there's some creativity there, there's some flair there, they did well, and they are going to hurt some teams at home. I think they will.
Definitely, I agree with you. Definitely.
I had a feeling that game with City were doing up on the show, and Chad was like, "Oh, it's going to be 5-1," and we're like, "No, it's just going to be either 1-1 or City might edge it 2-1." Because last season, Wolves were the first team to stop them from scoring in 90 minutes, and because they don't fear them actually attack them, you actually see when you don't try and put your whole team behind the ball, you can actually cause City some problems. And they deserved that bit of luck with the goal. It was funny because on Sunday Supplement on Sunday they were having a right debate in the studio about the goal, and they were saying, they need VAR, but there's a woman in there, I think she's from the Times, I can't remember what her name is, and she's got this problem. Yeah, she's got this problem with Pep Guardiola. So she was like, I can see why the goal was given. And all the guys in there were laughing, like, look at you get me? So it was funny. But yeah, the Wolves deserved that. And I think they would have won. City's goal, well done, Laporte, to get the header from the set piece. But I kind of wanted Wolves to hold on. I wanted to hold on. I think the performance merited. I think their performance merited
That point could be important come end of the season, D.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Right, joining Liverpool on 9 points, or 9 points, are Watford and Chelsea, who both won 2-1 on Sunday. Mike,
yes.
Watford boss Javi Gracia. I can't get that wrong because people think he's gracias.
Thank you.
It's not Gracia.
Thank you.
Garcia. You're welcome. You're welcome. He heaped praise on his hard-working team, but it's Juve's forgotten man, Roberto Pereira, who I found that was Argentinian. I didn't know it was Argentinian. He made the headlines. That 13 million quid on this player.
Yeah,
it's a snip, isn't it?
It is. Was it 6 goals now, 1 assist in his last 7 home games? That's brilliant. There was a good interview in the summer. I think it was in the Sunday Times or the Times, where he was talking about how playing at Juventus with Pogba and with Pirlo, he really learned a lot from those players, and he's just shown the ability that he's got, and it's almost like he's been given not a totally free role, but go and attack, go and play. He feels more comfortable with the players around him, clearly with the team, and I'll tell you what, 6 goals in 7 last 7 home games, it's not to be sniffed at, and 3 already this season.
That's right. Marvin, Marcos Alonso was Chelsea's hero again, scoring the win against Newcastle. Is it fair to say the Spanish left back is just as important to Chelsea as Hazard?
No way. No.
Got you talking, though?
No, I'm not having that. No chance. Don't get me wrong, he's doing very well for the Hazard. Hazard for me is just, he's up there. You got Ronaldo and Messi, who are obviously just doing their own thing, or have been, for the last however long. And then the next line for me is Hazard, and Alonso's been brilliant. He's getting forward. He's getting on the end of things. He's creating goals and assists and whatever else. But for me, every time Hazard gets the ball, if you watch Chelsea, they look for Hazard every time. Yeah. Every time someone has the ball, and he's playing with other international players who play at the highest level, but they still look for him because they know that he can unlock any defence. And at times he stops, and you think, what's he doing? And then he was bursting into life. He is. If Arsenal could take one player from another Premier League team, for me, it would be him. And yeah, he's a special player. Alonso's doing very well. Don't get me wrong, but Hazard is that guy.
Team of the week, Eden Hazard. Black card, innit? Gold stats.
Yeah. Oh, man. He's about it, definitely.
Top player. Double D, another fullback, had a starring role in the game, and that was DeAndre Yedlin. First, he had a hand or elbow, if you're Giroud, in Newcastle's equaliser. Then he failed to clear Alonso's shot, redirecting it into his own net. Not the better performances, was it?
No, Yedlin struggled. I was cheering Newcastle on in this one. Because obviously after Watford's win, and Watford now should be favourites for the title. Now I'm playing. I was hoping that Newcastle were gonna beat Chelsea, but yeah, he didn't have a great. Well, he was involved in Yossolu's goal, I suppose, but didn't have an inspiring game by any means. But Newcastle have been unlucky to only have 1 point from their opening few games. I thought they deserved at least a point against Tottenham. Kennedy's got to miss that penalty in the last minute against Cardiff. That was one of the worst penalties I've ever seen, to be honest. And then, Yedlin. But now Newcastle were about. I'm not sure what happened to Shelvey. Rafa's saying that Lascelles isn't fit, but they were just unlucky in on the whole, because I didn't think that was a penalty either. Shah got the ball. And again, on a weekend where VAR's been spoken about a lot, that would have been overruled. So yeah, really, really, really unlucky. But that was a huge win for Chelsea, because Sarri's still implementing his style. He's got them winning the ball further up the pitch. He's got players running aggressively from the back and from the midfield. But they've taken 9 points from 9, and he's still implementing the system. So when they improve, they're gonna be hot to handle. I'm gonna be interested to see what they do in the Champions League still.
Absolutely.
I think it was a penalty.
You do?
Yeah. I think
if I was a ref, I would have given it. The more I look at it, the more I think it's not. But definitely at the time, I think it got split second. I would have given it myself.
Yeah.
Well, the Mura one was more of a penalty, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, in other news, it's been a bit of a busy week for La Liga's health and safety officers, hasn't it? First, Real Valladolid's pitch was described as deplorable and like playing on the beach. Well, I think by Barcelona's players. Then Rayo Vallecano went one better by having their stadium closed for safety reasons after complaints by fans. Marvin, I've seen some horrible pitches in my time, and I'm sure you have, given your Europa League escapades, but Valladolid is literally like a rug. How did that game go ahead in the first place?
You know what? I I saw that on Sky Sports News because obviously Sky have lost the rights, haven't they, to the Liga games?
Yeah.
So I was watching it. I was thinking, is this banter? Like, is that, like some sort of honestly, I had to rewind it and look, that's actually like the top Barcelona players on that pitch, and I don't know how the referee didn't stop the game.
Geezer, that's where Messi was hiding his money under the carpet. That's the tax evasion right there, mate. They pulled it up and they saw all those euros. Allegedly.
We get a lawsuit against you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a debut show, and I get a writ. Wicked. Mike, yes. Vallecano's fans were understandably concerned with the state of the ground after noticing many poles were left out again. I don't mean your Chesneys and one. I mean literal poles.
Metal poles.
Metal poles. Yeah. Again, how on earth did they pass safety tests? I'm actually bearing in mind that we're from the Mediterranean as well. We kind of know how things work. How did it pass?
Well, some guy with a clipboard, sunglasses, hard hat, just walk round and then walk back out. Had to be.
Checking the tyres, just kicks the tyres, doesn't he?
Had to be.
In all seriousness, I mean,
I think Daniel Levy wants those safety people to come and check the Spurs grounds.
Very, very, very good. We've got them all tonight. Keep them coming. Jeez. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, when you look at what's happening with La Liga, possibly going to, in fact, they're definitely playing in the US, which I'm going to go into in just a bit. You can kind of see why a lot of these teams would like games played in America, because the facilities are so much better, and I guess there'll be less fans complaining about polls. Not Brexit style, but I mean, just like,
yeah, but there won't be any fans in the stand if Real Vallecano go over there, will they?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Maybe they've got some. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, but don't they wear the white shirt with the red stripe going across? Like,
they're going to think it's Peru.
Peru. Yeah, there you go. Cuyas.
1,000 miles away from the US, but anyway.
Well, some people like teams because of the kits, don't they? Well, look at all those rappers that wear the PSG shirts.
It's a Nike kit.
Well, get a strap. Yeah.
Well, the Champions League kit's going to be a Jordan kit.
Oh, go on.
It is.
Go on.
I think. Yeah,
Michael Jordan.
My son. Yeah.
The grey and black one, isn't it?
It hasn't got a Nike tee.
Is it
it's
Jordan.
Jordan.
Champions League one?
I think so. My son was telling me, and obviously they know more about it than I do. But apparently it's a Jordan kit.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I've seen it. Well, he showed me it anyway.
Okay. Who's wearing the 23 and the 45? I don't know. Right. While we're on the subject of Rayo Vallecano, they went down 1-0 at Atletico Madrid. The winner coming from Antoine Griezmann. Now, I'm going to ask all three of you this question because we've actually hardly mentioned Griezmann on the show. Shame on us. In fact, we've hardly mentioned him for a while. Am I the only one that actually believes he's highly underrated?
I love Griezmann.
Griezmann's different.
So good. He's such a good footballer. And you know last season as well when he said, "I'm staying at Atletico."
Yeah.
Even though there were rumours that he could have come to United and that would have been fantastic. For me, that said a lot about him as a man as well. The fact that they had the transfer ban. He said, "No, I'm staying. I want to stay and help this club. They help me. I want to help them." For me, that was massive. And he is a top draw performer. He's always at least a 7 out of 10. But his 8 and 9 out of 10s are outstanding and they're quite regular. He's a top player, really good footballer.
Intelligent.
Yeah.
Marvin?
I don't see him in the Premier League. I don't know. What sort of team do you see him playing in?
Tough one.
I think Atletico let him do what he needs to do. Basically, I think he'll always be at his best there with that style and being the main man. I think he comes to a Man City or something like that, and there's other big characters. I don't know.
Him and Costa this season are tear up La Liga and they're going to tear up Champions League. That's they've got a good chance.
Costa's a madman though.
He would just knock the centre halves out the way for Griezmann to go through.
Yeah, to go through. That's what they did when they won Europa, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because they were getting Marseille were battering them. First goal, knock forward, shove man out of the way. Griezmann passed it past the keeper.
Yeah.
And obviously they've got Lamar in, Jose Martins. They've got a decent squad now. They've always had a decent squad, but they've added in more creativity in the midfield. And yeah, I think
top defence. Great manager.
The Black Godin. Hernandez played all France's games in the World Cup. He can't even get in the team. I mean, and neither can Jimenez, and he played all Uruguay's game. They've really got some really, really good players there, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we spoke about it a few weeks ago that they're probably Barca's nearest rivals to La Liga.
Yeah,
because, with the greatest respect to Real Madrid, as superb as they've been, Cristiano Ronaldo, man, you take him out of your team. I know they've won their games, but
they need to find 40 goals.
Don't be fooled by their 4-1 against Girona, because I'm boycotting 11 Sports, so I've been watching all the Italian games and Spanish games on William Hill, because that's who I bet with, right? They beat Girona 4-1, but it was not a 4-1 game. If you watch the whole game, Girona had chances. Keylor Navas made like 3 top saves. It's a fake scoreline. And as Stel was saying, deeper in the season, they're going to be found out. So I think it will end up being between Barca and Atleti.
We've lit the fuse in the chat room with the La Liga fans. We've got Hala Madrid saying, after Messi, Griezmann is the best between the lines. I think Mike will agree with that.
Yeah,
and Hala said, Donko, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He's basically said, Rodri was a bargain. How he wasn't linked with bigger clubs is ridiculous. Double D?
I think they had a buyback clause, because he used to be at Atleti when he was younger. They do these funny movements in Spain and Italy, but Rodri's a player. That's a big loss for Villarreal. And they've lost Soriano to Torino. They've lost a couple of people. I don't think they're going to be as good. And Bakumbo went to China, didn't he? I don't think they're going to be nearly anywhere near as good as our season. But yeah, Rodri's a player. That's a huge loss, because Atleti let Gabby go, but you're not even going to notice it because of how good Rodri is, and he's a bit more athletic than Gabby is, who would kind of just literally sit there in front of the back four. Yeah, let's mean business, man. It was a very good window from Simeone. They've not really spent that much either. They've they've strengthened the squad. They've not spent huge money, so I'm liking the look of them.
There you go. Right, last week we discussed in detail La Liga's 15-game agreement to play matches in the United States. Since our chat, players from all La Liga sides met up to discuss the matter with the Players' Union President David Aganzo, who refused to rule out a strike action, saying the captains are outraged. They're against it. They are unanimous. This could get ugly fast, can't it, Marvin?
Yeah, it's a moneymaker for the clubs, isn't it? But the players aren't going to do that. Nobody's going to go across to. It's not just America. It's to another country. Football's about, if you have your home game and you play in front of your home fans and whatever else, that's what it's about. It's not about going, halfway across the world and playing somewhere else with in a neutral, how many fans are really going to travel across? How many fans can afford to travel across? This is a working man sport. Well, it used to be anyway. So I can see that, I can imagine if they tried to bring that in the UK, then the same thing would happen. The captains would be like, no, all the players would be like, no, and the captains would speak for them and say, listen, this can't happen. And Spanish players aren't afraid to boycott things either. So I think that it's a dangerous game they're playing. It really is, and it's not taking the fans into consideration, really.
See, this is the thing, right? I know it's only 15 games over, so it's one a year, isn't it? If you think about it that way.
Well,
yeah. So they're not going to have, with the greatest respect, Valladolid against Villarreal. Are they? No, they're not. So it's going to be a Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid. That's
so the rich get richer.
Exactly. So they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to be La Liga games," but it's not going to be. Okay, I doubt there's going to be a Clásico. Don't get me wrong. I can't see that happening because there will be uproar. There will be. People go mad. I mean, you saw them how they reacted to the bloody Super Cup game that was played in Morocco, and that was between the champions and the cup winners. But I don't know. They're selling it in a way where it's like, it's going to be fair for everyone. It ain't going to be like that, is it, Mike?
No, I mean, I said it last week. It is an attempt at trying to expand the Liga the way that the Premier League is. The Premier League has expanded worldwide without having to play games worldwide, and this is just La Liga's attempt to try and catch up with the Premier League. Mm-hmm. But as you said, they're not going to send Getafe to Boston or to Detroit or anything like. They're not. It is going to be the top teams, and who's going to get that money? Is it going to be an equitable distribution? Of course, it isn't. No way. Barcelona are not going to say, yeah, we'll travel to the United States, we'll play a game. Oh, by the way, we'll distribute the money evenly with the rest of the league. No, they're not going to have that, which is why it sounds like it's been ill thought and they haven't discussed it with all the major stakeholders. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think you see a lot of it will be the sponsors as well. Your Nike and your Adidas will be, the ones that are really trying to push this sort of thing, because it's all to do with, like you say, it'll be all to do with money, and it's all to do with the brand and whatever else, and expanding the brand. And the money men are in America. They own these companies, so they'll be trying to say, well, listen, come over here and play a few games. And if it's not the first season, I wouldn't be surprised, within the first couple of seasons of them doing it, you don't see a El Clasico over there. And that's when, things will really start to kick off, because Americans are going to be like, well, we want that big game. We want, what they like for sport. They're greedy for the big things. Yeah. So they're not going to be happy with, the like you said, the lesser games. They're going to want the main games. They're going to want the big games. And if you start doing it with 15 games, what's going to stop you from saying, well, listen, the next El Clasico's over there? I mean, where does it stop?
Yeah, but as a player yourself, let's say they turn around and say, okay, Hibs against the Edinburgh Derby. Imagine they turn around and say, right, that game is going to be at the Amsterdam Arena. I know a trip to Amsterdam would be great for other reasons, but the fans will try. The fans, and maybe that's a bad example because it's close by. But if they decide to have a game in, say, Australia or even India, where developing football nations, how would you feel about that?
For me, the derby games or any away games, it's about the atmosphere. And I'm probably a stranger when it comes to this. I like playing at away stadiums, especially when you get the views and stuff on the fans. It makes it football for me. So for us to go somewhere where there's not really going to be that many fans there, and especially the hardcore, they're not going to be there. So it's just going to be like it'll be like a pre-season game, it'll be like a testimonial. It's not. That's not for me really. I wouldn't enjoy that at all. I think it takes a lot away from the atmosphere of the games, and although it will still be for 3 points, it will feel like a friendly.
And that's what I want to hear, a footballer saying that.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go. Case dismissed. Okay, Serie A time, and Carlo Ancelotti's Napoli came back from behind. I'm doing it I'm trying to do it like Marcotti. I can't do it. They came back from behind for the second game in a row to snatch all 3 points. Oh, he loves me. Don't worry. This time, Napoli turned over Ancelotti's former club, Milan, after being 2-0 down. 2 goals from Zielinski and Marek Hamšík. His winner completed a remarkable comeback. Double Dee, Ancelotti's appointment was a bit underwhelming for some, but it looks like he's instilled a bit of fight and mental toughness to turn games around. It was actually a major downfall for Napoli last season as they practically threw away the Scudetto.
Yeah, definitely. I was so rooting for them last season to break this continuous Juventus dominance in the league. They've won like 52 league titles in a row now, Juve. But it was really, really good comeback by Napoli, because I feared the worst when they went 2-0 down. But it's true what you say, that it was underwhelming, because you'd think there would have been more of an uproar. Maybe it's because Sarri hadn't properly departed from the club just yet when it happened, because they were sorting out the compensation package and whatnot. But this has been what Ancelotti's won. There wasn't huge noise about him getting a Napoli job. They've won both their games. Up front, he's starting. Mertens has been on the bench, and he's been starting Milik with Callejon and Insigne, and more of a centre forward than Mertens, who's more of like a winger who can finish. So they put him in the centre, and he's done a brilliant job in the last 3 or 4 seasons. But I like the look of Napoli, and from what I've watched of Juve, who are obviously going to take time to adapt to Cristiano, though they've been able to win both their games, I've actually put money on Napoli to steal the title.
Okay, that's an interesting prediction, and a bold one at that. Listen, I'm not a fan of Napoli, to be fair. I've been blocked by a couple of Napoli fans, to be fair, because of
that's actually the fans that blocked you.
No, the Dortmund fans have stopped threatening me.
So what we've got Napoli fans, Dortmund fans, and Indonesian fans all coming from
all the hipsters. I was going to say
all the hipsters,
all the fashionable clubs.
Don't worry, if you're wearing Burberry socks, then you're in trouble, mate. That's what I've got to say.
Get the strap.
Get the strap. He knows it. Power's turned into rubbish, by the way, hasn't it? Power's turned.
Have you watched the latest one?
Yeah,
I saw the latest one. A bit too much going on.
You reckon?
Just silly.
It's too much, isn't it? If for the way they run the storyline, it needs to be a minimum 12, maybe even 15 episodes. It's too much. Sunday proper blew my mind. I had to keep pausing it to make sure to take in everything I'd seen.
I think they lost the main writer, the main script writer. I think he left.
Oh, is that right?
The guy who done all the first series, who wrote all that, it's apparently a different person that's doing this one.
Oh, wow.
The handover wasn't done correctly. He's probably writing for the WWE now, isn't he, or something like that?
That makes perfect sense then.
Bring back the Shield, anyway. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so like Ancelotti, the guy hasn't pulled up trees. I know at Bayern Munich the players turned their back on him. They were doing their own training sessions and they totally disrespected him. But this guy has won trophies wherever he's gone. You know, Real Madrid, won the Champions League, won the Champions League with Milan. He won the Chelsea, won the Premier League. If you can't get motivated by this guy, it's not as if they brought in Stephen McLaren or Sam Allardyce. You know, they brought in a proven winner, right? And if there's anyone that can turn this club into serious title contenders, it's him, as far as I'm concerned. No disrespect to Sarri, but as you said earlier, Mike, he's won nothing, nada. So what's Italian for nothing? I don't know, but I'll call my brother-in-law. But yeah, so let's switch it over to a manager that hasn't got any experience really, and that's Thierry Henry. He won't be taking over at Bordeaux because he hasn't received assurances over transfer funds, which is understandable. Nor does he know who will be in charge of the club, as a takeover from a Miami-based investment fund is in motion. Marvin, this is the club that sold their best striker to a rival under the nose of Gus Poyet, who is still in a job mind as he's only suspended. Now, it's not the best impression to give a potential head coach, is it?
No, that's the thing. Like, one day I want to go into management, and I looked at this story very closely because obviously, you know, Gus, who's managed in England before, and what the board have done for me is first of all massively disrespectful to him as a manager and to the other players, because the story I heard was that they were actually meeting at a hotel before training that day, and the striker's not there, and he's called the strikers to say, "Where are you?" And he said, "Oh, well, you guys have sold me." And that's the first he knew about it.
Are you sure you're not talking about P.O. Demwingy?
Yeah. Remember that.
Wow.
So, yeah, and Gus wasn't the calmest of guys. You know, I've played against his teams and he's been in the dugout. He's a bit of a fiery character, so I can only imagine how he went on, and obviously he's done his press conference, and I think he was right to say the things he said. You know, he has been let down, and you know, imagine him leaving the club and going and, you know, accepting a job elsewhere, and the chairman's looking for him and saying, "Well, where is he?" And you know, another chairman calls and says, "Well, he's accepted this job here. He's resigning from you guys." You know, you've got to take it both ways. So I can only imagine if Hibs ever done that to Lennon, what would happen.
Yeah, exactly. What do you make of it?
It's about communication, isn't it? Any organisation, if you want it to run smoothly, there's got to be coherent communication from top to bottom, left to right. Everyone's got to know where everyone is doing, etc. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Double D?
It's a mess, isn't it? It's a mess. If they America seems to have a recurring theme in today's program, if this Miami-based consortium are trying to take over Bordeaux, but I feel for Poyet because he did say in January when teams were trying to get Malcolm, when he could first come in, that he won't be sold in the summer. Whenever Poyet came in, he said that Malcolm won't be sold. Board have got it over his head, as Marvin's pointed out, sold him anyway. And he's thinking that if I knew my best player was going to be sold and I wasn't going to be given the funds, I wouldn't have taken this job in the first place. Now he's blasted them all in the press conference, which was long overdue, and he's been suspended. It's just a right mess. And Bordeaux are a decent team, but it looks like it's all going to fall apart for them. They need to get this sorted out really quickly. But yeah, it's very unprofessional what's going on there at the moment.
Owes me an interview, by the way.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I'm going to get in contact with him.
Have a word with him. Have a word. Have a word. Right. One final thing. Quiz.
Oh.
It's the quiz. Right. Shall I remind you guys of the games?
Go on then.
It was Wimbledon 0, Chelsea 2. Does anyone want to... Okay, I'll tell you what, Mike. You guess.
All right, then. I'm going to go Zola. I don't know if he was playing then. And I'm going to go 98, 97 or 98. Di Matteo.
Di Matteo. Okay, all right. Double D.
I'm gonna go Zola and LeBouf.
LeBouf, the beef.
The beef.
He won the what? Yeah. Of course he did. Of course he did.
Doesn't tire of telling people.
If the greatest ever striker didn't have a fit the night before, I don't think LeBouf would be talking too much about it. I think he'll be like, did I play in the World Cup? I can't remember. Marvin, your 2 goal scorers, please.
I'm going to go Vialli and I'm going to LeBouf as well.
Okay. Vialli and LeBouf. I'm just typing this up on this lovely iPad that's changed Vialli to Viagra, I promise.
13.
Yeah. And do you know what? This is my daughter's iPad, so I don't know.
That's the same Viagra that Alisson had.
Yeah. Very good. Very, very good. All right. Okay. So the next game was Spurs 3, Aston Villa 2. Mike?
I'm going to go Ferdinand Sheringham. I'm going to go Ferdinand Sheringham Anderton.
Okay.
For Spurs, and for Villa, I'm going to go for. Is Dwight York still there? Can't remember. I'm going to go Dion Dublin.
Dion. He doesn't need Viagra.
No. And I'm going to go for Stan Collymore.
Okay. I'm not going to make any comments there. That could go pear-shaped.
Well, God, okay.
Yeah, let's leave that one out. Okay. Yes, Mr. Double D, what have you got?
I'm good for Tottenham. I'm going Dominguez.
Oh, wow.
Ginola.
Wow.
He wasn't really.
And Villa, I'm going to go with Collymore. And I'm trying to think who played central defence for Villa.
Melberg.
Well, 97, 98.
No, it wasn't.
Sean Teal was that after before?
What year did you go to Man U? I'm going to go York because I think York went to Man U in 98, so I'm going to go York.
Yeah, that was his first year was a treble year.
98, 99, yeah. So you're going with York, yeah?
Collymore and York.
Okay, so Dominguez got a hat-trick for Spurs, you're saying?
No, I said Dominguez, Sheringham, and who was the other one I had? Oh, I just forgot who I thought of. Ginola.
Ginola, okay. Lovely. Marvin?
Right, there's a game that came on the Premiership years today, and it was Spurs 3, Villa 2. Now, I don't know what year it was from, but when you mentioned the scoreline to me, I kind of smiled. So I'm glad you come to me last.
No way.
Beautiful.
If I'm wrong now, I'm going to feel shame.
Go on.
I'm going Raw Fox.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah. Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Double.
Okay.
Oh.
And then Villa, Stan the Man.
Okay.
Yes.
And Big Dwight.
Okay. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I like this.
I'm going to be right.
For your sake. Right.
I was smiling so hard when you said that score. I was like,
Oh man, do you know I didn't even watch it. Well, it's just coincidence. Right. Coventry 1, West Ham 1.
Yeah, well, coincidentally, this wasn't on the greatest Premier League games today. West Ham, I'm going Di Canio.
Okay.
And Coventry, do you know what? I can't remember any Coventry players.
We've said Dion Dublin, so I don't think he's played.
No. Coventry.
And it wasn't Roy Wegeler.
I'm saying
And Love, wow.
Yeah, it may have been well after his time, but
wow.
I'm going to put that down.
Double D, go on.
I was going to say Unlove because no Coventry players are coming to mind. Who was that Coventry man there? Yeah, I have to go with Unlove. I'm sure he'd gone by then because I can't think of no Coventry players are coming to mind And from West Ham, John Moncur.
Okay. Interesting. I like the thought process behind it. Marvin.
West Ham, I'm going to go Lomas.
Okay.
Steve Lomas.
Yes.
I don't know if he scored any goals. What was the commentary had a striker? It was a bad man. He was fast. Oh, wait, I need 2 seconds to think. What was his name? Went to Norwich as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, damn.
Oh, good shout.
He used to bang goals.
Yeah, he did.
Huckabee as well.
Okay, right. Let me total these up. So Mike got 1, 2,
yes,
3 correct.
Is that it?
3 players correct.
Yeah, that's.
I probably didn't get any.
You got 3 in one game.
Oh, definitely that 3-2. I reckon that's gonna save me.
Double D got 2.
2.
You can't come back on the show, bro.
Relegate. I beat you last week as well.
Hey, Marvin, allow me, man.
I beat you last week as well.
Right, Marvin, the debut got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What?
Right. So what happened was, this is what I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so Chelsea beat Wimbledon 2-0. It was Di Matteo and Dan Petrescu. Spurs beat Villa 3-2, and Marvin got everything correct. Ferdinand 2, Rule Fox, York and Collymore, and that's what I wanted for him. And Coventry 1. Yeah.
Rule Fox.
Coventry 1, West Ham 1. West Ham's goal scorer was Kitson. Paul Kitson, and I believe from
Derby.
Did he join Derby afterwards?
I don't know.
Paul Kitson, right? Is that the guy with black hair?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Him and Hartson joined at the same time to save West Ham, and they did because they had Marco Bugas before that. And Darren Huckabee.
Wow.
There you go.
Damn. Huckabee.
Wow. Goal scorer, man.
Yeah, he scored a crazy goal against United once, didn't it? 3-2.
He went to America as well.
That's right. Yeah. Was it Tampa Bay? It wasn't Tampa Bay, was it?
No, that's Joe Cole's Tampa Bay.
Joe
Did
Cole.
Craig Bellamy model his game on Darren Huckabee?
Possibly. Did Robbie Keane model his game? Imagine Robbie Keane came from Wolves, didn't he? There you go. Right, that's our show for tonight. What a very eventful show. I'd like to thank all 3 of you for jumping on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Mike, before I let you go, what's your Twitter handle, my friend?
At Del Pieri.
Double D, do the honors. What about your show? Tell us.
Right. So my @ is at Double Dee, which is DUBULDEE. The show is at DD Footy Factory _ on Twitter, and we air on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on topfm.net, 95.5 FM in London. That's me, DJ Goliath, and Big Sam.
Superb, and thank you once again for coming on such short notice, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
No problems, man. Always enjoy it, man. No problems.
Cheers, fella. And last but not least, Marvin, thank you ever so much for coming on the show, mate. Please tell our listeners or tell everyone your Twitter handle. Not that they don't know it already, but
my Twitter handle is DoTheBartman1.
superb.
Simpsons, and Bart Simpson was doing the dance.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's me. I'm gonna find you guys on Twitter after this anyway. Well, Stel, I've got you on Twitter. I'm gonna find the other 2 on Twitter, so I can give them some banter about just beating them in this quiz thing.
Oh no! I'm blocking you. Block.
Great stuff. Absolutely great. And then good luck for the rest of the season, mate. But hopefully you can come back on anyway, because I know that
Definitely.
you know, it's been a great show. Great having you on. You know, it's very relaxing now that there's someone that gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, man.
No, it's been good fun. Good fun.
Hibs played good football.
Don't try to be my friend now.
Marvin,
not even trying to.
Marvin, because Andy Murray come to games. He's a fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Does he come to the games?
His mum comes an awful lot.
Really?
Andy Murray's actually just set up a where he's like mentoring, and they've just signed up 2 of the young boys from Hibs. So yeah, they're very much involved.
That's fantastic.
Like I say his mum comes an awful lot to the games, and obviously Andy's out playing tennis and whatever else, so he's a bit more busy. But yeah, him and his brother do come. when they can. So no, it's good. It's good that they support their local team.
Good stuff.
So he's Scottish now. He's not British.
No, he's Scottish.
We only said he was British when he was winning the flipping Wimbledon. He's Scottish, man. Leave them with him. It's fair play to him. He's Scottish.
Fair enough. Well, shout out to Judy Murray. You can follow on Twitter at Judy Murray. We also have a Twitter. It's at Shoot the Defence. We have a Facebook group page. Please feel free to jump on board and join in the what's the word? We can't use banter these days because people get offended by that. But yeah, join in the debates. There you go. Not like that show on Sky Sports that your boss is on, Marv.
Yeah, I know he's on it, so I'm going to give it a watch now.
That's why you're allowed to come on the show, because he doesn't know, does he?
Bring him on the show. Bring him on the show.
I'll tell him tomorrow.
Tell him.
Superb.
It'd be great at the game. I bet it'd be good at the game. Managers are like that, aren't they? They remember things like that.
Well, I won't choose a Leicester game then.
No, if you'd done a quiz, honestly, like that, he would get a high percentage, 90% and above.
Wow.
Excellent.
Challenge him. Maybe we'll come on then.
It's got to be done.
Yeah, no, he could do.
Well, it's something that you can do on the team bus on your way to games. Like you can, get this idea from us, But yeah. Anyway, we're dragging this on for too long. People that are going to be listening, but turning it off. Right, guys, thank you very much again for joining me, and for those of you listening and everyone in the chat room, thank you very much. Until next time, take care.
That's it.